This week on NBA G League Takeover, the NBA G League Finals are here. A matchup of two top seeds features Mac McClung and the Osceola Magic going up against the Stockton Kings. Coming up, a full breakdown of these two powerhouses, plus Mason Jones, the hero who dropped 38 in the Western Conference Finals, joins the show. All that and so much more coming up right now on NBA G League Takeover.
This is NBA G League Takeover, sponsored by Kumho Tire.
Hello and welcome to NBA G League Takeover. Mike Davis here with you inside the den at Fox 5 Studios. I'm joined right now by our G League insider, Gianna Hearn. G, the NBA G League Finals are officially here. We had two epic showdowns, two number one seeds now in the NBA G League Finals. We got the Stockton Kings and the Osceola Magic. Two big Eastern Conference, Western Conference games to break down. But let's start with our dude, Mac McClung. I just want to say to everybody at home, if you think Mac McClung is strictly a dunk guy, just a dude who's got hops, you would be 100% wrong. If you watch this game where the Osceola Magic take down the Maine Celtics, one of the hottest teams all year, this dude was a certified bucket the entire game. 3-point shots, floaters, kisses off the glass. I mean, the dude was sensational. Gianna, as a former G League MVP, you know that this guy's got the goods, but it's time for people to wake up and realize that Mac McClung is Mr. Mac Daddy.
You know, okay, look, I told you I thought it was going to be Maine and Stockton, and I was like gritting my teeth, like, how could I bet against Mac? There's no way I could do that, but I did it, and, you know, I'm eating my words. I did say Stockton was going to be there, though, so I had almost every team right.
Yes.
But you can't bet against Mac because of everything that you said. He can do almost anything on the court. He's so dominant, and it's like he plays bigger than his size. We all know that. But he is a leader in every single way when it comes to off the court, on the court, during the game, in huddles. And I think Mac just needs an opportunity where he can get some actual minutes and get an actual opportunity, because at this point, why not give him a shot? He's done so much. He
can do a little bit of everything, and it's just the confidence that he plays with is striking on the floor. But he had he broke his own record, a franchise record for points in a playoff game with 42 as they held off the Maine Celtics and J.D. Davison, the MVP. We're going to be getting into his honors from the year. But your big takeaway with the Osceola Magic and just taking down the Maine Celtics in that big showdown, is Mac really the type of guy, is the team around him good enough to get them to the promised land and ultimately beat the Stockton Kings? Because it looks like the Stockton Kings have a little bit more of a complete roster.
The Stockton Kings have a lot of depth. They have a lot of experience. Now, what the Magic did not have in this last game, they didn't have Trevelin Queen playing, one of their other two-way players, which I told you before, it's not normal or typical not to have your two-ways down. Most of the two-ways are sent down, especially when you're close to the championship. But Trevelin Queen was courtside with Kendavis Caldwell-Pope, which was very interesting. So they had Magic support, but they didn't have Trev playing.
Gotcha.
So my point in this is, in the finals, will we see Trevelin Queen to kind of help round out that Magic team? But they obviously didn't need him. And I'm thinking that the front office said, we think they're good enough to beat the Celtics. Now, the Maine Celtics have not beaten the Magic at all this season. They went 0-3. So I think it must have stung a lot to miss the finals after losing against the Magic. But it will be a very interesting matchup between Stockton and the Magic, because Stockton isn't... The Magic were very dominant in this last conference finals. Stockton had to claw their way into this thing. So I know we're going to get there and talk about
we're going to talk
about... They're two different. Mac was dominant. Osceola was dominant. And so... they are heavy hitters. This, to me, I don't even know. I've told you I picked Stockton from the very beginning of the season, but this is going to be a good matchup.
Okay, now before we get to the Stockton Kings taking on the Magic and how they took down the Austin Spurs to get to the promised land. Let's just mention the Osceola Magic did have a nice supporting cast, though, for Mac in that game. Ethan Thompson and Jalen Slauson both had 20 points, and Myron Gardner had 17. So there was a nice supporting cast, but like you said, it seems like the Magic just had the number for the Maine Celtics all season long. But let's move on to the Stockton Kings, because they got a guy who's got some true firepower, who's just been playing bonkers lately. His name is Mason Jones. 2 games ago, he dropped 47 points in the Western semifinals. Then in the Western Conference Finals, Mason Jones decides to drop 38 points. Terry Taylor also supporting him with another 29. So the number 1 seeded Stockton Kings defeat the Austin Spurs, a good solid team as well. But 2 number 1 seeds making the NBA G League Finals. It's exciting stuff. It's similar to what we saw with the Final Four, all number 1 seeds. So the rich seem to just keep getting richer. Tell us a little bit about Stockton. I know we spoke a lot about Skal Labissiere throughout the year, but Mason Jones, I mean, this dude has shown up and shown up big time, G.
Yeah, he is third. He has the 3rd highest postseason mark of all time in the G League with that 47 points. Mason Jones, I've always said it for a very long time, because he's had at least the last 3 seasons a consistent string of just crazy offensive output. Now, people question some of his off-court things and also sometimes taking care of his body. Well, this season he lost 45 pounds doing hot yoga from the offseason all the way till now.
Wow.
And he's also, get this, been getting his master's at the Harvard Business School. So he's been juggling a lot of things and exceeding at a lot of things. And I think if the narrative about Mason Jones was we questioned some things about off court, it seems like he's kind of got it all put together. He looks great. He's, again, shooting great. And also he just seems to have a different focus than in seasons before. Now, will that help him? I'm not sure, but I mean, he has to be MVP of the finals if Stockton wins. So yes, I assume he's going to have another crazy game.
See, that's why I love talking with Gianna Hearn. All those nuggets, hot yoga, losing 40 pounds, getting his master's at the same time at Harvard Business School. It's all great stuff for Mason Jones. What a tremendous season for him. So the NBA G League Finals going on right now. They've officially arrived. It's 3 games. You know, the rest of the playoffs, it's all do or die. But once we get to the NBA G League Finals, it's 3 games. So game 1, game 2, and game 3, if necessary. We'll see what happens with these 2 top seeds, with the Stockton Kings and the Osceola Magic. Real quick, G, we're going to be going to a short commercial break. Coming up next, we're going to be breaking down all the G League awards from this season. You don't want to miss it. More NBA G League Takeover coming up after these words.
This is NBA G League Takeover, sponsored by Kumho Tire.
All right, welcome back to NBA G League Takeover. Mike Davis, Gianna Hearn. So, Gianna, we got to give out some hardware. Tell everybody, the good people at home, what happened, what occurred this season in the G League. So no surprises here. The MVP, Kia MVP award went to J.D. Davison with the Maine Celtics. Obviously came up short against the Osceola Magic in the Eastern Conference Finals. But, you know, no surprises here. We really thought this was a guy who has been playing tremendous all year long, and you really thought it was going to be him the entire go-around, right?
Yeah, I mean, after Winter Showcase, it was pretty clear that Bryce McGowan's and him at Showcase were equal-ish. But then as the season continued into the regular season, the amount of wins that the Maine Celtics were able to string together based off of his leadership and his play, it was kind of obvious that there was no one else that was going to get the MVP. So when it came out, I was like, hey, at least we know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, and at least he didn't go home empty-handed. I'm sure he wanted to make it to the finals, but he did get that MVP award. Now, for the Kia NBA G League Coach of the Year, we got to give some props to our guy Scott King with the Austin Spurs. Here's what's so great about Coach King. This is his first season with the team. He led them to the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. Of course, they lost to the Stockton Kings in the Western Conference Finals, but he's the 2nd to win Coach of the Year in franchise history for the Spurs. Who did it before? Quinn Snyder. Of course, the great player from Duke, head coach in the NBA who won that same award just with the Austin Toros. So tell us a little bit about Scott King, G, and just this guy seems like he's on a pretty great trajectory to do some damage, not only in the G League, but in the NBA as well.
Early on in this season, when it was tip-off tournament time, I wasn't really paying attention a lot to the Austin Spurs. I felt like they were falling behind. And then some way, I don't know, after Winter Showcase, the regular season, they kind of just turned it on. They actually not lead the league. They have a league record of the highest offensive. They have plus 23.5. So they beat teams this season by more than 23 points per game on average. And I want to double check that. I read it and I saw it in the press release, but it sounds a little crazy to me to be beating teams like that. I mean, he led them to a 22-12 record in the regular season. They're first in defensive rating, third in steals. The Austin Spurs, they really made a mark, and they made it a really close game in the Western Conference Finals, actually, against Stockton, because they led most of the game, and it was really Stockton, like I said, has a deep team. They're able to edge it out at the very end of games. And so Austin could have surely been in the finals, and that would have been a great story for him as coach of the year.
Yeah, 100%. And we all know that the Spurs organization, it's a top-tier level organization from Popovich and R.C. Buford. So, Scott King now, he's in that. He's in the belly of the beast. He's got the pedigree, and I'm sure this is going to be a guy who has a bright future ahead of him. Now let's go to Kia NBA G League Rookie of the Year. I feel like this is a guy we didn't talk enough about throughout the season here on NBA G League Takeover. It's Trey Alexander with the Grand Rapids Gold. Averaged 25.8 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, and 5.6 assists. This is a guy undrafted from Creighton. Coach McDermott, my producer James Edward Barrickman, the fourth, loves ballers from Creighton. So, G, tell us a little bit about Trey Alexander. And it seems like as a rookie of the year, he did a little bit of everything and was just filling up the stat sheet.
Yeah, you said we didn't talk about him enough. I agree, but I also thought that someone else might be getting this award. So congrats to him, because there's some things that I didn't recognize, because probably I'm not even sure why we didn't recognize him as much, but he ranks second among all G League players in scoring average in the regular season this season. So it's not like he didn't do anything. I don't know where we were living.
He was just under the radar a little bit, unfortunately.
But I want to point out some of these shooting numbers. He was shooting better in the regular season than he was in tip-off tournament. He went from 46% in the field, 39% in the field, and then in the regular season, 46% in the field and 42% from three. So he got better in his three-point shooting. And not only got better, but 42% from beyond the arc is pretty premier shooting numbers. Now, I'd have to take a deeper look into how many attempts he took, but for a rookie, the amount of points that he's averaging, the shooting percentages that he has, he deserved this one.
Yeah, a very efficient player, a great rookie season for him. Real quickly before we go to the break, we just got to say the Kia NBA G League Most Improved Player. That award went to Elijah Harkless. And lastly, the G League Defensive Player of the Year, Braxton Key with the Santa Cruz Warriors. So congratulations to all the people who got some hardware, got those trophies that are going to be sitting nicely on that mantle at home. Guys, coming up after a short break, we spoke about him early in the show. He's the stud from the Stockton Kings, leading them to the promised land. Mason Jones joins the show after a short break.
This is NBA G League Takeover, sponsored by Kumho Tire.
My name is Mason Jones. This is year 4, and I'm a two-way for the Sacramento Kings / Stockton Kings. I love Sacramento. It's just, as a person, it fits me. I'm very off the court, I'm very quiet, I'm very chill. I like to read my books. I like to do things that gets my mind off basketball. And then on the court, we have some of the best fans. Like, the fans is tremendous. And that just makes me want to wake up every morning and go to yoga. That just makes me want to continue to push even harder on the court, because for me, I've always been the underdog, but at the end, I always continue to be the guy at the end. So I just can't wait to continue to show what I can do. But I love sack. It just fits me as a person and where I'm at in life. I lost 36 pounds. I knew that I wanted to go into this summer knowing that I can take a next step, and that's what was always on my mind. From the last day of the last year's season to the first day of this season, I just knew that I wanted to make another transformation of my body, and that's just what I wanted to do. And I knew that to do that, I had to be more disciplined, and I had to be more consistent with just everything in general, from off the court to on the court. Really just continue to keep controlling what I'm controlling. Shooting 62% from the three, shooting 57% from the field goal percentage. We're winning. It's just one of the things where I let God continue to control what He can control, and I continue to control what I can control. I'm grateful and blessed. Like, I'm here. A year ago, I was just in Europe. And it's a saying where they say a year can look so different. It will only like release me even more to like the player I know I can be. Because to be honest, I got a question to ask, and it was like, who is your favorite G League player, like just in general? And I said Gary Payton III, because I just feel like our journey is like the same with his. Every year he had to kind of continue to come back and prove more and more, and the team finally saw exactly what he can do. And you see where his career went. NBA champion, still playing, still getting better. And that's just how I look at it. I just look at my journey as his journey, and we talk a lot. So it's just one of the things where I just continue to wake up every day and know that, okay, once that standard comes, I know, okay, I can take it the next step. Because it's always, you're right here. But then when you get there, you finally be like, okay, now you really can take that next step.
All right, great stuff there from Mason Jones. I mean, the dude, 47 points, 38 points. He's been playing hot this playoff run. Now he's going to be taking on the Osceola Magic in the NBA G League Finals. Now, Gianna, a quirky little funny wrinkle here is that Mason Jones and Mac McClung, they actually were teammates together with the South Bay Lakers. Tell us a little bit about that storyline, because that's a fascinating wrinkle as we get all primed for the NBA G League Finals.
Yeah, these are going to be two guys that know a little bit about each other, as they spent that year. You were talking about Mac's rookie year, where he won Rookie of the Year, and then Mason was third in MVP voting that year. So once again, it's going to be an interesting wrinkle, because when you face up against someone that you know so well, and not only do you know so well, but he would have looked up to, Mac would have looked up to Mason at this point. It's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be probably one of the most competitive finals we've ever seen, because you take a bulldog like Mac and you take someone that's super fiery and has already proven so much, but still is just barely not there in Mason. It's going to be a showdown.
It's pretty cool to see two guys who started their career in the same place, and now they're really spearheading the leaders, the top dogs for their respective squads. So that's great to see with both of them. It's going to be a big showdown. 3 games. Of course, the NBA G League playoffs, it's all do or die until you get to the promised land. NBA G League Finals, 3 games this week. Osceola Magic as well as the Stockton Kings, the 2 top seeds, make it to the finals. Coming up after a short break, we got to hear from Gianna Hurd and hear who she's picking for NBA G League G of the Week. Plus, we're going to talk about some other good stuff happening around the league. That's coming up after a short break.
This is NBA G League Takeover, sponsored by Kumho Tire.
All right, welcome back here inside the Den Fox 5 Studios. Mike Davis, Gianna Hurd, NBA G League Takeover. G, it's our favorite part of the show. It's when you give out G of the Week. Tell us who has the honors this time.
Well, of course, if it's the last one that we give out, it has to be J.D. Davison, MVP of the G League, not because he's MVP, but because he deserves it. If you look at his season, 15 of the 30 games he played in the G League, He had 30-plus point performances. He was outrageous in how dominant he was. And when you talk to his coach, Tyler Lashbrook, he said JD has been nothing short of exceptional this season. His leadership and his guidance that he provides in the locker room is what sets him apart. He truly impacts winning in every single way. And I don't think anyone could have said it better. That is exactly what we see from JD. And although he wasn't able to get it done to get to the finals and get the chip, I don't think that says anything else about the MVP of this year.
Hey, 2 superlatives, MVP of the NBA G League, plus he gets the final G of the Week award as well. That's nice stuff to have. Now, real quickly, before you give us some big storylines for the NBA G League Finals, let's just give a quick shout out to Ty Washington. This is a dude who could have easily gotten G of the Week as well, dropping 39 points and a triple-double in playoff play. Tell us a little bit about our guy, Ty.
Ty Washington, when he played against the Stockton Kings in that first round of playoffs, 39 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists, a big triple-double. And he did that against guys like John Elmer, Sky Libby-Sierra's out there. And not only that, he was the leader for most of that game. They lost 122-114, but first quarter, second quarter, they were up by 1. Third quarter, they were up by 5. The game became tied with 1:51 left to go, and that's when Stockton went on their run, and Mason Jones does what Mason Jones does. But Ty Washington could not be looked over when we talk about the playoffs of the G League because he was very dominant.
Okay, great stuff. And real quickly, G, we got about a minute left. Give us 3 tidbits that we need to know as we head into the NBA G League Finals.
All right, so the last game that these teams played was on Sunday. The next game will be on Tuesday. What does that mean? The Stockton Kings are going to Osceola. They're traveling all the way from California to Florida. So they have 1 day in between they have to play. So travel is going to be a big issue. Will Stockton be able to manage that load? Not only that, they will be missing their home crowd, which they played both of their playoff games at home in front of a crowd that's very supportive. But Osceola has, if not maybe a better and also the same type of support system in their home crowds. They're going to have some trouble facing them there. Will Trevelin Queen be a factor? Will he play? That's one of my other key points. And lastly, I said it already, but the Magic home crowd, Dylan Murphy, the head coach for Osceola, he said that they had to calm themselves down when there was a huge play that happened. They couldn't even get themselves together because of how crazy that crowd was. And then will Mason Jones be healthy and ready and composed?
There you go. Real world implications. Great insight there from Gianna Hearn. I'm Mike Davis. Enjoy the NBA G League Finals. We'll see you next time here on NBA G League Takeover.